Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about working with metallic spray cans. This is another one of those topics that I get questions about all the time. Metallics. Metallics are a challenge. Metallics have some issues with them that other paints do not. In particular, in this video, we're going to be talking about this shiny metallic, the reflective finish stuff. Different than the sparkly kind of pearlescent metallics. We'll cover that in a different video, but these in particular have their own special challenges that we're going to discuss today. So what we're working on today is this mirror. It's got this nice kind of textured and filigreed gold frame around it, but it's in terrible condition. So I'm going to prep this real quick. There's not going to be a whole lot to that. What you'll see me do is scuff it with a red Scotch-Brite pad. The reason I'm using Scotch-Brite instead of a standard sandpaper is it's got this texture and it's got these filigrees, and Scotch-Brite gets into corners a lot easier than sandpaper does. The other thing that gets into corners and stuff like this really easily is steel wool. I'm trying to avoid steel wool on this because I don't want it to get little filaments all over the place that I then have to deal with. So I'll scuff it and clean it, and then we'll quickly talk about this before we start spraying. Now that that's prepped and ready to go, what do you need to know about this stuff? Well, durability, not stellar. Pretty easy to scratch. It's a reflective finish, so when you scratch it, it's very evident. But it's a nice color, and it's good for stuff that you don't need to be touching all the time. A lot of people try to clear coat this. Unfortunately, it says on it that you can't. And I always recommend when you paint that you clear coat your paint job to protect it, add some durability, put it under a layer of something that's easier to fix than the paint itself, that kind of thing. You can't do that with this. Straight up, don't try to clear coat it. It will just look hazy. And that stipulation is not reserved to the gold either. If you're using a chrome, a reflective silver, that kind of stuff, it's all the same issue. You can't clear coat over that to protect it, unfortunately. It's just not going to look right. So you have to use this in a situation where it makes sense. If you want a reflective gold finish with a durable clear coat on it, I'm not aware of a spray can that allows you to do that. Unfortunately, you're kind of going to have to move up to a proper multi-coat system with a gun, as far as I'm aware. If anybody knows of a way of doing that properly with spray cans, where you can put like a 2K clear over it or something like that, let me know what product it is in the comments, and hopefully everybody can benefit from that knowledge, but as it stands, I'm not aware of one. So that is the gist of it. It doesn't take a ton of this stuff to get decent coverage. 2-3 coats is just fine, and they actually go on fairly light. You don't need to blast it. If it looks like it's kind of hazy, sparkling up a little bit, then apply your next coat a little bit heavier. But generally speaking, you don't really need to flow this stuff on. It's going to gloss up nicely with a relatively thin coat. I'm going to go ahead and mask up. I always recommend wearing a respirator anytime you're spraying any kind of paint, even if it's water-based. It's better if you wear a respirator. If you need one and you don't have one and you want to get one, check out the link in the description to my Amazon affiliate thing. And we've got a full face there, which is awesome for 2K and everything. And then a smaller one, which is great for this kind of thing, or airbrushing. Make sure you're protecting anything that you don't want to get paint on. As always, it's difficult to aim spray cans, so it's really important that you're careful about your masking. I recommend masking off the entire mirror area on something like this. I recommend polying all around it if you can. I'm in a warehouse where it doesn't matter if I get paint on everything. As for the mirror, you'll see I've put a line of masking tape to protect it, and then I'm using a freehand shield, which I will jam into the corners and spray with this protecting everything else. It's big enough that I don't really have to worry. But for example, if I tried to use a piece of paper to do this, I would end up with little lines of haze on the mirror around where the paper was. Now for a mirror, that's not a big deal because I can go in with lacquer thinner and just clean it off. So for this project, it's not a problem. But if you're spraying something else, which you probably are, this is something you need to be aware of. Paint goes everywhere. Anything that you don't want to spray, you should mask. So let's get to it, shall we? There it is, guys, looking pretty good here. That's a beautiful gold tone. It's got that nice kind of reflective look to it. It's not gonna be full mirror finish, but a semi-gloss at least. That's one coat. If you're gonna recoat, I suggest doing it in the 10 to 15 minute range. So let it dry for 10 and get spraying before that 15-minute mark hits. You'll be within your recoat window and you should be able to take advantage of that chemical adhesion without having to wait for it to, dry overnight and then scuff it again so that you can mechanically adhere the two. It'll bond properly that way. What am I, a seal? As it turns out, I only needed one coat for this one. I do find that that's the case actually fairly frequently with this stuff because it covers so quickly. You saw how light I was spraying. I was sitting there from a distance. No problems with that. Good coverage on that first coat, so no point in doing another one. Now this is a bit off topic, but I'm gonna address it briefly anyway. I know a lot of people think that they need to put 10 coats of paint on something to protect it properly or to get depth. The more you put on there, the higher your chance of a product failure. I'm not saying you can't put 10 coats on. If you're doing a nitrocellulose lacquer finish, big deep gloss, you're gonna want something like that so that you can go in and polish it, you can sand it and all of that without having to worry too much about sanding through or any of those problems. But when you're just doing a standard color, the whole point of adding more coats is so that you get full coverage. So if you're getting a nice coverage, a nice quality look, and you're not seeing anything through it on that first coat, fine. 2 coats, fine. You don't need to do 6. Completely unnecessary. There's no other real purpose to it, particularly for something like this. Well, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please feel free to give it a thumbs up if you did, so it's easier for other people to find. And remember to subscribe so you can see all the other cool stuff I got coming out. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.